In that region, they have so far found, I believe, 12 giant stones. These stones weigh 9,000 pounds, and they have holes drilled through the top. Apparently, this was to hold a rock, to hold a rope, to hang this rock over the side of the boat. It's what's called a drogue stone. The purpose of a drogue stone is to keep the boat stabilized in stormy weather. Sort of like a shock absorber to the water. As the waves hit you, the boat slowly moves instead of, violently reacting to the waves. It keeps you more stable with a bunch of rocks hanging all over the boat. Plus, if it really gets windy, the wind will turn the boat and you'll be perpendicular to the waves because the rocks are going to drag behind you, and now you can't capsize. One atheist I debated, he's a former preacher turned atheist. He said, you can't have a boat that big because if you get over 300 feet long, when the waves come up, the boat bends in the middle and it breaks. Well, first place, a lot of people have built boats over 300 feet long. The Chinese had a bunch of them way over 300 feet long that sail just fine. Plus, if Noah's Ark had a moon pool, that would solve all the problems too. There are several ways to solve this problem. A moon pool is a hole in the floor with walls built up inside, and when you go over the waves, the water comes up and down inside that hole. So, what happened to the dinosaurs? I mean, if the Bible is true and dinosaurs were on the ark, what happened to them? That question of what happened to the dinosaurs is used in public schools all over the world to trigger kids to start a conversation about evolution, to teach them the evolution theory. And they'll tell the kids, maybe a meteor struck the Yucatan Peninsula 65 million years ago, made an iridium layer all over the world, and killed all the dinosaurs. Anyway, so what made the dinosaurs go extinct anyway? Hey, they are asking the wrong question. The question is not what made them go extinct. The question is, did they go extinct? I think dinosaurs had two basic problems after the flood. Number one, they faced major climate changes where they couldn't live as long, and so some of the big species simply went extinct. They couldn't survive. Second problem they had was probably worse. People were hunting them. In those days, they called them dragons. They would kill them for meat. There'd be a lot of hamburger in one brachiosaurus. You could feed the village for a while, couldn't you? They killed them because they were a menace or for medicine. You know, it's amazing how many ancient recipes for medicines call for dragon saliva or dragon bones to be ground up and put in these things. Just like it's, just go out and get a dragon and put some of the bones. Just like it's normal. Everybody does that, don't you know? They used to call them dragons because the word dinosaur wasn't even invented till 1841. So all through history, they're known as dragons. The word dragon is found in the Bible 35 times. They didn't call them dinosaur. The word didn't exist. But as the population of people began to grow after the flood, the population of dragons began to go down. Nobody wants to live next door to a dragon. Hey, the same thing happened right here in Pensacola, Florida. How many grizzly bears are roaming around Escambia County right now? 0. How many were there 500 years ago, you think? Probably a lot of them, right? Well, what happened? You see, when people move into an area and civilize it, the big ferocious animals are driven off or killed off, right? If it came on the evening news tonight that there were 5 grizzly bears roaming around Escambia County, do you know what would happen by 6 o'clock in the morning? Every redneck in 3 counties would be out there with a rifle trying to shoot one. And whoever could shoot the biggest one would be the hero. They'd put his picture in the paper, you know, I shot the grizzly bear and saved the village. That's exactly what would happen. And that's what happened to the dragons. Man, if you could kill a dragon, you'd be a hero. And there are all sorts of stories of people killing these dragons. Gilgamesh is famous for slaying a dragon. Some Chinese guy named Yu surveyed the land of China, and according to the story, he built channels to drain the water off to the sea to make the land livable again, and many snakes and dragons were driven from the marshlands. Just, you know, you got to drive the dragons off before you can, you know, farm the lands, like it's part of the procedure. The Babylonian god Marduk is shown pictured here on top of a fire-breathing dragon. St. George is famous for slaying a dragon in 275 AD. Beowulf is famous for killing dragons. He was finally killed by a dragon when he was 88 years old. But the Beowulf story, when they translate it to modern English, says, Beowulf killed Grendel the dragon by pulling off one of its arms, and the creature bled to death. What a strange story. Pulled off his arm. Well, most folks that study the T-Rex will tell you his front arms were pretty weak and puny. And I don't know if this was the dragon they're talking about or not, but probably if you could ever get a way to get a hold of it, you could probably jerk one of his arms off. Siegfried is famous for slaying the dragon Fafnir, famous Norwegian hero from 1,000 years ago.